to Rochambeau, the podcast about unique competitions, extraordinary events, and other amazing adventures. I'm Kim.
And I'm Ted. Welcome to this episode.
Happy to have you guys here. I want to get right into this one. It was an event that I went to a couple months back.
Okay.
Super excited to share this with you, Ted. I believe you were in Colorado at the time.
What you got?
I have for you the Iron Tikitender Southeast competition.
Passion fruit and fasciola syrup, herb saint, orange juice,
hibiscus,
dark rum,
Campari,
fresh lemon juice, kumquat,
Buddha's hand lemon,
passion fruit whipped cream, stems, cherry bitters, and the sexy banana with nipples.
Welcome to Iron Tikitender on tour.
What's the Iron Tikitender Southeast all about, Kim?
Well, the Iron Tikitender, we'll take the Southeast out of it for a second. Okay. Phew, what a burden. What a burden lost. The Iron Tikitender competition has been going on, I believe, since 2012, and it happens in Portland, Oregon in July. It's encompassed within their TikiCon. So you know how much we love Dragon Con.
We do.
Yes. You know, con is basically a generic term for a convention
right.
Exactly, of some subculture that wants to celebrate. So you can imagine all things tiki. So within TikiCon, they do the Iron Tikitender, and it is the quest to find the world's best tiki bartender.
I was wondering about the tender part.
Yes, bartender.
Oh, I was thinking like chicken tenders.
Oh gosh, no. Specifically bartenders that specialize in tiki drinks.
I'm a fan of bartenders.
Yes, I know you are. Yeah. And I love a good tiki drink. Mm-hmm. Do you by chance happen to have a favorite tiki drink?
I like the fog cutter.
Oh, a fog cutter. That's a classic.
That's a classic.
That's a classic.
So, Kim, we are very lucky.
Yes.
You and I.
Truth.
Because we live in Atlanta. And we have Trader Vic's.
That's right.
And Trader Vic's is an amazing tiki bar.
It is. There are quite a few places in Atlanta now that are really, really awesome. I personally love SOS Tiki.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Anyways, Iron Tikitender Southeast took place during Inuhele.
Okay. I like that word.
Inuhele got started by Jonathan Chaffin and his wife, Allison. And they started this as a tiki bar tour. And this year they made it a full-on conference, and within the context of it, they decided to put on the Iron Tikitender Southeast, and we'll let Jonathan explain what's going on here.
My name is Jonathan Chaffin. I am the organizer with my wife Allison of Inuhele, Atlanta's Tiki Weekend. I also design and sell tiki mugs as Horror in Clay. And my wife produces Mug Crate, which is a quarterly tiki mug subscription box. And Iron Tikitender is a competition started, I think it was 2013. They've run it at TikiCon in Portland, and they invited tiki bartenders from all over the country to compete every year. And Allison and I met the organizers of TikiCon, and we were talking with them a lot. And we decided to have a Southeast regional competition with one of the prizes being a slot at Iron Tikitender in Portland.
And so you guys started with the competition last night. You did a mystery ingredient round. How did that go for you guys?
All of the bartenders did an excellent job. Absolutely outstanding. It went really well.
Tell our audience a little bit about how the competition tonight is supposed to break down.
Okay, so tonight we're doing round 2 and round 3. And round 2 will start with the Garish Garnish competition. What we've done is set up something that looks like a boxing ring with moai anchoring the corners. And we have our 3 competitors set up with 6-foot tables in a triangular pattern in the middle. They've all set out the fruits and garnishes and extra stuff that they wanted to bring for the competition. They've got their tools they're familiar working with, and they will be provided with a mystery ceramic vessel. They were able to pre-plan garnishes, and maybe they have some ideas. Actually, knowing those guys, I'm sure they do, because we have some very, very creative guys. But the vessel will be brand new to them. They will figure out how to best adorn it. It will be built on a serving platter, which will be carried to the judges' table. That is also part of the competition.
That's a big deal because it has to be portable, right?
To some extent, at least. It does mimic the service aspect, because you wouldn't just build a statue of fruit and vegetable on a cup. You know, you'd have to put probably 2 or 3 of them on a table or on a platter and carry them off to whoever's the patron. So after that round, we will go down to 2 competitors, and they will be having the Mai Tai speed round. They have the time to decant into whatever the vessels they wish, and then they will start slinging drinks. And really after that, somebody will be crowned Iron Tikitender Southeast, and they will receive 2 tickets to TikiCon in Portland, some other nice little bibs and bobs. Of course, bragging rights.
And a slot in the Iron Tikitender finals in Portland, right?
That's my understanding, yeah.
Can you tell me about who the judges are tonight?
Yes. Brother Cleve is a DJ. He's been a raconteur. He's been involved in the tiki scene since the 90s. He's a musician, and he is a nice guy. Jesse Coffey is co-owner of Tiki Underground in Ohio. And third judge this evening will be Mark Hooper, who is a former Iron Tikitender contestant in Portland, and another entertaining fellow.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else you want to add that we didn't cover?
Tip your wait staff.
Good sound advice.
Right?
Yeah.
Always.
That sounds amazing. So you were there.
Yes.
How garish were the
Garnishes? Oh my God, so garish.
Oh, yeah?
They were fantastic. We're going to hear from each of the competitors, and they're going to tell us a little bit about how things went for them the previous night.
Okay.
So I should elaborate on that real quick. So the Iron Tikitender in Portland is broken down into 3 competitions.
Okay.
And so they did the same here with the Southeast one, but they split it up over 2 days. And we went to the second day, but on the day that we missed, there was a competition based on mystery ingredients, and they had to make drinks using one of the mystery ingredients from the box. Iron Tikitender is all about elimination rounds, so they went from 4 competitors the day before down to 3, and then the day that I went, they went down to 2, and then of course there was a winner after that.
All right. And what were the mystery ingredients? Do you know?
Let's listen to the competitors chat, and they'll tell us all about it.
Perfect.
My name is Mitchell Pat Magrian. I'm from Sarasota, Florida. I work for Jack Dusty, which is a coastal cuisine and craft cocktail bar and restaurant in the Ritz-Carlton, Sarasota. Here competing in the Iron Tiki Goes South competition at Inahule. Ended up here just because there was a submission thing for make the best twist on a hurricane you could. Being a bartender who, at my home bar that I work at, I kind of handle the rum tiki cocktails. And I said, just give it a shot. Surprisingly, heard back pretty quickly. Actually thought it was kind of like a bogus like scam email because I read it and I was like, this seems sketchy. And then as I read it, I was like, all right, I'll reply. And was just excited because I've spent a lot of time in Atlanta in this area. I'm relatively new to the craft cocktail scene. I've been in it for just over 2 years. Originally, I was a chef for 10 years, and this has just kind of been a new thing for me. We're just here to have fun, hoping to get through this.
So what was your mystery ingredient last night?
So my mystery ingredient last night, I got to choose last of the 4 competitors, and what was left for me was a jalapeno tequila, George Dickel Tabasco whiskey, or Herb Saint. And I picked the only one that's actually an ingredient, which is Herb Saint, which is going to be a New Orleans classic style of absinthe. Knowing that it's a classic New Orleans ingredient that goes into a very classic New Orleans cocktail, which is the Sazerac, and also that we're having to make variations on hurricanes, I wanted to combine 2 classic New Orleans cocktails, which was the Sazerac and the Hurricane. So my cocktail ended up being Myers Dark Rum, a whole ounce of Herb Saint, which is something usually in cocktails in the small dashes. So I was using a full ounce. I had the passion fruit and Fasciola syrup, fresh lemon juice, and then cherry bitters, which is another important ingredient to Sazeracs. And people loved it. Yeah, so I'm stoked.
And so then today is also broken up into 2 separate things. There's speed, and then they're calling it garish garnish, which I think is fantastic. Which one are you feeling stronger about?
I'm feeling actually stronger in the speed competition. That's one of my strong suits. The garish garnish is it's been in the back of my mind for about 3 weeks now of all the things I'm going to try and do. Because in my world, keep things simple, stupid, and do it right, but not overly done. Whereas that's the opposite in the tiki community is as wild as possible. So that's what I'm going to try and do. Kind of stocked up on some local special fruit. Being the mystery component of not knowing what our glassware is, I had ideas for certain glassware, but it's all up in the air at this point. Like, that's the only part of it that's been causing the stress and uncertainty. So yeah, it could be anything. I saw the pictures of what it was last year, and it was a giant turtle bowl, and they had to build up from it. I'm like, that's not even a cup. So there's ideas running through my head, and they've been keeping me up at night, sadly. But it's just not last place. That's what matters at this point. If I can get second, I can make it to the last round.
And then lastly, I know the prize is a guaranteed place in the Portland Iron Tikitender. Is this something you ever considered going to before?
Not actually. I've been to Portland. I was at their well-known tiki bar, that Halle Pele, just last August, and really, really loved it. So having that opportunity, that'd be great to go back, get some more experience there. Being a Floridian, I've always been on the desire to go to the Mai Kai, the big event down in Fort Lauderdale, the Huki Lau. Just haven't had the time. The schedule's sadly not lined up for me in the last couple of years, because this is a really fun community. I come from more of the cocktail side of it, where I know there are people who love all parts of it, have their different specialties, and I come from specifically the cocktail side, which is pretty fun to do. Yeah.
My name's Ryan Smith. I'm from Macon, Georgia, so bringing the small town to a big city competition. I actually currently design bars for a living, so everything from 3D construction design to menu design, graphics, training a staff, pricing, inventory, the whole thing. I'm also designing a mid-century lounge in Macon, Georgia, so like 1950s to 1970s kitsch, some tiki stuff, a lot of forgotten classics, that kind of thing. I'm really pumped. The town is finally growing up enough that people are looking for that kind of thing, so it's time to start, changing the industry a little bit.
And how did you hear about this competition?
Well, I actually did a pop-up tiki event in Macon for the radio station that's based there. It's a country, funk, and blues station, and I do a bi-weekly how-to cocktail thing with them on the air and in print. And I did what they called the Creaky Tiki pop-up night, and we did like a small stage, and the Mystery Men played, and Jonathan and them just happened to be there, and we fell in love talking about the culture, and he let me know this event was happening. I was just all too happy to submit a recipe, so I'm happy to be here.
Yesterday you guys had to make a drink with a mystery ingredient. Yes, what was yours? So
I was third to choose, and I was actually pumped to see that Campari was on the table. I love bringing weird, nuanced flavors to, sweeter or more tart drinks. So I went straight for the Campari. I was very excited to have that choice. Just because in a hurricane, I think it worked well to kind of break up the sweeter flavors. With the bitter there to kind of break up the really vibrant sweet flavors, you were able to pick out the hibiscus and kind of, layer the cocktail a little bit. So it was real fun.
A hurricane's never something that's really been on my mind as a drink that I would love, because it is really, really sweet. So that sounds like a great idea.
All you got to do is make the classic hurricane. So it's 1.5 of a dark rum, or 3/4 dark rum, 3/4 light rum. Then 3/4 ounces of Fasciola syrup, 1.5 ounces of lemon juice, and just 2 dashes of Campari. That is all you need. And it just brings in that little bit of bitter body to help kind of coagulate some of those more sweet flavors.
And so this evening's competition is broken up into 2 parts, the garish garnish, the speed round. Which one are you feeling stronger about?
I'm pretty excited about the garnish that I'm going to do tonight. I brought a Buddha's hand lemon. I'm planning on making a kraken and using it as the top of the head, and I just think it's going to set the whole thing off.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I'm really stoked. I hope the glass is big enough that I can kind of put the tentacles everywhere, but we'll see how it ends up. But I really love speed bartending. Doing things efficiently is kind of the name of the game for me. That's something I always try to stress to my clients. Doing things the right way, measuring your drinks, making sure that they're always the same, making sure that they're repeatable, but making sure it's efficient and done in a timely manner is something that I really enjoy about bartending. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm interested to see how it works out.
And so the prize, getting to go to Portland to compete in the finals, this something that's been on your radar before? Have you ever thought of competing there?
It's actually something I had never heard of until Jonathan told me about this event, but it sounds awesome. Portland's a really cool town. Any chance to pop in and see Morgenthaler and all those people up there is, good excuse for me. So I'm excited for the opportunity.
Well, thank you so much, and good luck tonight.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
So my name is Jim Stacy. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I am an Emmy Award-winning television host and food historian kind of thing here in Atlanta. I've had restaurants, namely Palookaville. I've owned the Star Bar. I ran the Starlight Drive-In. And I'm a Tiki file. I was on the first wave back in the early 90s of the resurrection of this stuff. And this being said, I've always parlayed my whole love of Tiki into specific episodes of my TV shows or my historical research or my actual craft. So this is kind of a no-brainer for me. When they were having a Iron Tikitender in my hometown, I was like, well, here we go, because I was gonna put in for the competition at TikiCon this year, because I really want to do an old man small old man tiki bar called the Sea Witch. Super authentic, super detail oriented, super encrusted, small batch.
Well, let's talk about last night, which was part one of the competition, and you guys had to do a mystery ingredient. What was yours?
Okay, so I was able to pick second. Mickey from Trader Sam's drew the short straw and got to go first. And I picked Pimm's because it was the least egregious of all that was up there. So I love Pimm's, and I think Pimm's has got a really great earthy flavor. It's not overly herbal. It's not overly balsamy. So it actually kind of fits with tiki a little bit. So we were supposed to make a hurricane, and my garnish ended up being a passion fruit whipped cream. So I took whipped cream and I beat it until it was just before butter, and then I folded passion fruit puree that I'd cooked down with sorghum and made this crazy passion fruit butter. Actually, it's like this soft fluffy butter that didn't melt like whipped cream would. And so that's why I did that, so because it wouldn't fall apart. And so we made the drink with Myers Dark and Pimm's, orange juice, passion fruit syrup, red Fasionola, both of those from BG Reynolds. And then I had gone and gotten a gallon of fresh squeezed orange juice from DeKalb Farmers Market. So I used that as my base with some lime and lemon, and then we dressed it with kumquat and fruit leather, and then a candied hibiscus. Nice. Yeah, and a little dollop of that cream, so you could eat it a la carte, or you could swirl it into your drink, and it makes this beautiful cream drink. Yeah, cream hurricane. Yeah, so that's how it happened.
And so obviously that worked for you because you're here tonight. And tonight broken down into two parts, the garish garnish and the speed. Which one do you feel stronger about?
I don't understand why we're having a speed competition. I mean, we're all bartenders. Who cares? So the only competition really here tonight is the garnish competition, which I feel like pretty damn strong in. I have a background in sculpting and building, MacGyvering, so I don't feel like this is going to be a problem.
I'm super excited to see what you come up with.
There's going to be a sexy banana involved. A sexy banana with nipples.
So there's that. I mean,
you mentioned that the Iron Tikitender has already been on your radar. Have you ever considered entering before?
Not really until this year. The people who know me in this community, but there's people on the left coast that are more of the not taste makers, but maybe that have industrialized it, that don't know me. And I was like, might as well show them what this dough knows, so.
Well, good luck.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
So those are the three contenders going into today's event, correct?
That's right. And I believe it was the last one that we heard from Jim Stacy who mentioned Mickey Wellman, who was the gentleman who had gotten eliminated the night before.
Okay. And he had the first choice of ingredients.
He did, but didn't work out for him, although everyone had wonderful things to say about him. He, by the way, was from Orlando.
Okay.
And was a tiki bartender at one of the Disney resorts.
Oh, I can see that. I bet he's at the Polynesian resort.
No, actually, I think he worked at or works at the Grotto.
Oh, well, that sounds fun.
Yeah, I don't know too much about Disney World.
I know stuff about it. I worked there, actually.
You did?
I did.
What did you do?
I scooped ice cream.
Ooh.
Yeah, on Main Street.
That's the, I assume, main part of the park that you walk into, right?
Yeah, sure is, yeah.
That's so cool.
I know, I made cookies, but mostly scooped ice cream.
You made joy and happiness for people.
I grew up in Orlando, so everybody in Orlando worked at Disney World.
Very cool.
Yeah. So now I want a tiki drink.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
But we're highly suggestible.
We really are. But I also want to hear what they made this time. What's the mystery cup?
Vessel. That's right.
Vessel.
So the garish garnish, which is the competition that the guys were getting ready for when I talked to them.
Right.
They each had access to like a pineapple, a banana, some oranges, and then they
sexy banana.
A sexy banana, according to Jim Stacy. And then they each had any other stuff they wanted to bring with them to get ready for it. But the mystery element is the vessel that it all gets put in. So it could be, Probably not, but like the size of a coffee cup. It could be one of those elaborate dishes that you would set fire to.
Right.
They didn't know. So there's a certain amount of pre-planning that can go in, but then there's a lot of, I don't know what I'm going to do till I see this thing.
Right. And I imagine the organizers are like, let's make the craziest vessel we can find.
They picked a beautiful one.
Oh, yeah?
So when they had each of their tables set up, they had a box in the middle of the table.
Okay.
And when it was time, they got to lift up the box and see what the vessel is. And it was a maybe 6-7 inch wide round dish with 3 seahorses on the sides. It was absolutely beautiful, light pink in color. Really one of the prettiest tiki vessels I've ever seen. But it was wide. Like it surprised me how wide it was. It would have been one of the ones, that you would put straws in either side and share with other people. So they had a certain amount of time. They basically said, all right, now you know your vessel and now you can go. And they all started building. We have some pictures on our website of the final stuff that they built, but I believe it was Ryan who mentioned that he was going to build a Kraken.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Well, as it turned out, that was what Mitchell also decided to build.
Oh, really?
So, but Mitchell didn't know what he was going to build ahead of time. And they were 2 totally different versions on like a sea creature. But it was really interesting when they started building, like knowing that Ryan was going for a Kraken to all of a sudden look to the side and be like, I think he's building a Kraken too. That
So
also has tentacles.
Could they see each other?
Nope. They were all pretty much in a ring together-ish, but had their backs to each other. Like they did the tables in a triangle formation, and so they were each facing the audience.
Yeah.
And so, so we had 2 really interesting, elaborate type Krakens, and then we had Jim Stacy's, I'm going to call it a masterpiece. It was amazing. It was amazing. It had smoke coming out of it. It had a giant banana that was indeed quite sexy.
As sexy as a banana can be.
Absolutely. There was a lot going on. And by the end of it, Jesse, one of the judges, was tasked with delivering the results.
Okay.
All right. I got voted to deliver good news and bad news since I'm in the middle. So. What I'm going to do is actually share with you the total points because they were extremely close. And, they always say that everyone can't win, but I'll tell you, all 3 of you did an impressive job, especially under the circumstances. All right, so I'm going to take it in the same order, and then the gentleman with the lowest points will be asked to step away from the ring. But again, be very proud of what you've done. So, Jim, start with you. You had 69 points, so congratulations. Appropriate for the nipples, so that worked out really well. So it was good. We did not do that on purpose, so very good. Then Mitch was our second contestant. We went in alphabetical order. You had 70 points. That's how close we were. So good job, even without the nipples. So. And then Ryan, you came up third, and you had 72 points. So there you go. Thank you very much.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So that concludes round 2. Round 3 will be the Speed Mai Tai Challenge. Our 2 remaining competitors are going to have an opportunity to set up their bar. They're going to have 15 minutes to set up the bar the way that they want. They will be using real glass Mai Tai glasses. They will have 10 minutes to make as many Mai Tais as they can. They will be judged based on the consistency of the drink. They will be able to decant any juices or anything into whatever they want. Clear? If you want us to move your spaces just a little bit, we can do that for you too. But as I said, you got 15 minutes to set up, and you may go.
So the squids had it.
Yep, 70 versus 72 points. It was squid versus squid. I think everyone loved what Jim created, but couldn't compete with the Krakens.
It was an octopocalypse. Don't steal that name.
Won't do it. But yeah, they were very different versions, but they were both amazing and beautiful.
Right.
They were all beautiful.
So next up is the speed round, and they make as many Mai Tais in 10 minutes as they can.
Yes.
That's a long time.
It's a long time, and it's a lot.
Yeah, I think 5 minutes would have kind of gotten the point, like how fast are you, how organized are you?
Yeah, probably so. And here's the craziest kicker of it all.
Okay.
This is being done in front of a live audience.
Okay.
Right? A live audience of people who love tiki drinks.
Right.
Right? And then they're making all of these tiki drinks,
Right.
what would you assume would happen next?
Give them to the crowd.
Yes.
Did they give them to the crowd?
No.
Oh, man.
They had
What kind of madness is
Oh,
this?
it was awful. They had a licensing liquor law issue, and they weren't legally allowed to serve the crowd the drinks, so they had to dump them. I know.
You just broke my heart,
I
Kim.
know. Everyone's heart was breaking a little
Oh.
bit. It didn't change, watching the, masterful making of these cocktails so quickly.
Right.
It was still really, really cool. And the judges got to taste some, and the contestants each tasted one. But yeah, there was a lot of thirsty observers.
Oh,
I know.
man.
Brutal,
How
right?
is that possible? They can't even give it away?
Could not even give it away. You have to trust that putting it on a convention of that size, or any size really, has so many different moving parts. And I just think that the licensing part was just one that they couldn't negotiate for that specific room.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now we know if you're planning on going to the Tiki convention, don't plan on getting free drinks.
There you go.
Right. But tip your bartenders.
That's right. Tip
Right.
your bartenders.
Gentlemen, are you ready? Okay, we have 10 minutes on the clock. Basically, make as many Mai Tais as you can. They will be judged for consistency, but not flavor. Judges, are you ready? Okay, 3, 2, 1, begin.
And they're off.
And they
And
are
they're off.
off. You might have heard mentioned that they would be judged for consistency, but not flavor.
Right. That's a little weird.
Right. That was because of them needing to throw the drinks away. They didn't want to waste their money on really good liquor.
Right. I got
So
you. Okay.
they kind of used bottom shelf rail, as some call it,
Okay.
liquor. So I think that's why he mentioned the flavor thing.
And how did the consistency work? Like,
How did the judges look for consistency?
Yeah.
They tasted, a few random ones and, looked at coloring and stuff like
Okay.
that. So, I guess putting the no flavor part in there would be like, well, they can all taste kind of icky, but as long as they taste kind of icky in the same way.
Same icky. Right. I got you.
Right.
Okay. Not super sweet on one, not super liquory on the
Exactly.
other one. Okay.
Exactly.
What was it like? Like, did they pre-make parts of it?
Yeah, so they had their own decanters that they could use to pre-make any part that they wanted, and they both kind of chose different styles. And they had 2 bars set up facing the audience. So once again, the guys had their backs against each other, and it was amazing to watch how fast they worked. It was non-stop motion. It was phenomenal.
So was it about how many they could make, or just consistency?
So I think the initial goal was about how many they could make, and they put 33 glasses on each of their stations.
Okay.
Right? With, I think, the original goal being, well, fill up as many as you can. Well, they filled up every single one, both of them, before the 10 minutes were up, which was kind of phenomenal. And then I guess their judging, they did a little more on the consistency level.
Okay.
Yeah, but they did have to pick a winner.
I want everybody to stand up and give these guys some major applause.
High fives from the judges. High fives for each other.
We also want to thank Jim and Mickey for all the hard work. You guys rocked it. Thank you, Jim.
Mickey being the competitor that lost out last night.
And did your local city proud, Jim. So be proud of that. All right. You can see we had a difficult time drinking 66 Mai Tais, but I think it was a little harder on everyone in the audience to watch us drink all those Mai Tais. And you're probably thirsty by now, so we will get to it. So the runner-up for today, and again, a lot of deliberation, is Ryan. So very good job. Thank you. And our winner is Mitch. Cause a riot, but I'm not sure what we're doing with all these Mai Tais. I'm just going to throw that out there. And then I'm going to give the microphone to Jonathan.
So the winner was Mitch, the fine dining guy.
Mitch from Sarasota.
Right.
Yes, the previous chef.
Previous chef. All right.
2 years in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good work, Mitch.
He was super excited.
Oh, I bet.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was a blast.
So I heard that you guys made the exact same number.
Yeah, they gave us 32 glasses, and they're like, there's no way you guys are going to fill them. We made them all at the Tiki Tender contest last year in Portland. They were only able to make 20 cocktails. We both made 32, so that was a blast. It's one of those things that I don't know, never expected to happen. But this is what I thought was going to be my strongest competition, and I guess I did it because. Yeah.
Congratulations. How excited are you to go to Portland?
Oh, I'm pretty stoked. Knowing that it's July 4th weekend is going to be interesting to ask off from work in a beach hotel. So they might, I'm sure it'll happen, but it'll be a blast.
Now, hopefully it will bring them enough notoriety that they will easily be like, go, take 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm stoked. And it'll probably happen because I've had full support of all my bar staff, my general manager of the hotel, the general manager of the restaurant. They've been sending me nothing but love, and I can't wait to get a hold of them and let them know that I'm going to bring it back to Sarasota.
So happy for you.
That's amazing.
Super cool.
Yeah.
That was a really, really fun one to watch. It was a little heartbreaking not to be able to drink a Mai Tai.
Right.
But I think I have since gotten over that.
Have you had one since?
I have not.
What's wrong with you, Kim?
We should go do that right now.
We should.
We'll wrap this up. Go grab a Mai Tai.
I've been thinking about that this whole time.
So that was the Iron Tikitender Southeast, and the full-on finals, Iron Tikitender, will be taking place in Portland in July.
All right. That sounds fantastic. If you're in Portland, go to that. If you're not in Portland, go to Portland and then go to that.
All right, Ted, you want to start out the calendar this week?
Boy, do I.
What you got?
Well, we're going to Indiana for April 13th and 14th. Yeah.
What is happening there this weekend?
Well, at the Children's Museum in Indianapolis, the Sunburst Atrium will be decorated like a twirly, swirly candy land. And kids and their grown-ups can zoom down a slide that looks like a river of chocolate.
Oh, my gosh. That sounds wonderful.
Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, there's sweet treats and tasty eats at the Chocolate Cafe.
Did you find that one yourself, or did a listener tell you about it?
Got that from Steven in Indianapolis. Thanks, Steven.
Very cool. Well, I got one from Mark in Charlotte. It is the Loch Norman Highland Games. So you know what the Highland Games are in Scotland, right? Yep. So this happens a little bit north of Charlotte, and they call it a family-friendly event that will let you experience Highland dancing, bagpipe bands, Highland athletic, and a lot of Scottish stuff. And, of course, haggis.
I thought you were going to say, and of course, stone skimming.
No stone skimming. They have races with people in kilts.
Yeah.
They have whiskey tastings. Ooh. They have longbows. And they have axe battles.
Uh-huh.
But yeah,
I went to one of those.
Mainly haggis.
Mainly haggis. I went to one of those in Orlando a couple years ago, and I did the axe throwing.
What'd you think?
It was a lot of fun.
Very cool.
I'm a decent axe thrower, shockingly.
Look at that. Yeah. Very cool. All right, guys, we'll go out and check out something this weekend. Please send us your ideas for something going on in your hometown or something that you happen to know about.
Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or at rochambeaupodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you to Cadillac Jones for letting us use your music. Subscribe if you are so inclined. And, once again, the world is a big, beautiful, and sometimes strange place. Get out there.
Do it.
Till next time, people.
Goodbye.
Why is there always a man in a kilt at a convention? Like, he's got a Hawaiian shirt on, but it's tucked into a kilt.